folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. This is going to be a springtime update on what we got going on in the garden, and a little bit of update on the chickens and what we got going on there. We got some new chicks that we raised this spring, and we'll walk down by the bees, and any other thing I see to video, we'll throw it in there. So I've been out of town for a week in Los Angeles. Listening to people talk for about 3 days straight, sitting in the same chair. So I was ready to get home and relax a little bit. So we got almost 2 inches of rain while I was gone. Everything is soaked. So the seeds we planted in the garden should be germinating. Looks like my radish is bolted. We'll go in there and take a look here in a second. So let's take a walk on into the garden and see what's in there. Okay, out here we got some chives and some carrots going right here. And this is radishes we planted at the end of winter. Looks like they bolted all this rain and the sun. And got some onion sets planted along there as well. Looks like we got a sunflower coming up. Volunteer right there. So in here we've got green beans planted, and I believe there's green beans planted along here. I don't see anything coming up yet. Man, there's water standing in here. One thing about this garden, it's downhill going this direction, and this horseshoe shape, it just captures all the water in here, and it stands until it sinks into the ground. So yeah, don't look like anything's coming up yet. I think sweet corn is along here. Got our tomatoes, some tomatoes right here. Our other tomatoes are still growing up from seed, and they're not ready to be put out yet. Oh, this guy don't look very good. That's broke off. That's why. Huh. Wonder if the wind did that. So we got a lot of eggshells in here to stop the blossom end rot. Some more chives. You can see the comfrey's doing real well. If you can't grow comfrey, you're not a very good gardener, because it'll grow in anything, looks like. Looks like we got some beets going there, and some volunteer sunflowers coming up. We had sunflowers planted in this corner last year, and also over there in that other corner. But, these bigger onions, we planted them last spring, and we didn't pull them up, so they're getting pretty big now. We got a little bit left over of the winter crop. So this is different varieties of greens and lettuce. So we've been pulling this and getting it to the chickens, and then we're going to use this bed for something else. Looks like that's bolting. They don't like this dark stuff. Their favorite is this here. This variety. There, that'll give them a good snack. The passion flower we had here for the butterflies, it didn't come back, but last year, you can see one of the vines there, it went clear up to the top of the trellis. Had a lot of the Gulf flitterer, something like that, butterflies. I need to get this opened up. She shut it when it was a chance of hail. She probably shut that while I was out of town. So there's the little ones. Those are golden sex links. I chose that breed this year because you can sex them as chicks by their color. So the white ones will be roosters and the brown ones, reddish brown, will be hens. So we'll see how that worked out. None of them look like roosters to me. But they're just now getting to where they are mingling with the main chicks, the big chickens here. We've got 8 of those Buff Orpingtons. And some of them are probably in there laying. It's late morning, it's the time of the day that they lay. So we put the sex links in this little pen right here, and you can see the little bars on the front. That's so they can go in and out and be protected from the big chickens. They're getting to be pretty good sized. So they should be laying they should be laying in August. That'll be 6 months for them. And 3 or 4 of them have been roosting in the big chicken house. A couple of them are still staying in their little shelter in there. So they really like those greens. They like the comfrey as well. Last year the Orpingtons wouldn't touch the comfrey, and this spring I've been throwing it in there and they like it. I don't know if it's because it's fresh growth or if there's nothing in here green, but they do like it. Okay, so you can see some of the tomatoes we got coming up from seed here. They might need a little bit of water. And these are peppers. There's some peppers back here. Let's see, she's got them labeled Celebrity Hybrid. Sweet pepper, California Wonder. And I'm not sure what's growing over here. And we put this comfrey in here last spring, and we never moved it. And in the winter, when it got warm, that thing started growing, so it's a lot bigger than the other. We need to get it out of there. I've been pulling leaves off of it, feed them to the chickens. Here they come. See, they like the comfrey now. Last year they wouldn't touch it. So one other thing I did to the coop here, or the run, last week, I expanded it. So it used to run right down here, and I expanded it out into this green grass and got it back on the other side of these trees where it was before we had the hawk attacks. And man, so that grass was like that tall, and they've already got it ate down. And they're scratching up in there, getting worms out. But so there's no netting right here, so I put these little cords over it, just like so over where the net's at, and put those little streamers on there, kind of deter the hawks. So we'll see how this works. So I scooted it out probably a good 7 feet all the way down. And I've opened up the windows, the shutters on the chicken coop to let the air flow through it. I need to get in there, and it needs to be cleaned out now. It's had the same straw in there all winter long, so it's ready to be cleaned out. This is a Vitex Negundo. This is a variety that puts out the short flowers that bees like. I have some Vitex Agnus Castus. They're over on the other side. They're not doing as well as these Negundo plants have done. These are very hardy. In fact, I planted these when it was really dry, and I had a hard time keeping them enough water on them, but they made it through. So it's a very hardy plant. Got some little volunteer maples. Try and keep them going. It wasn't volunteer in that location, but we transplanted it here. It came up in the pond. Here's another Vitex. Another little maple tree. Another Vitex. That's a walnut tree right there. Let grow. I had about a 4 foot tall sugar maple tree right here, and one day it just turned brown and was dead, and there was a gopher got in here and cut the root off. So I really hate gophers. Hey Maggie. Uh-oh, you got wet. Come here. We took Maggie to the vet, and they put some electrodes on her. She wore a harness for 24 hours to check her heart out. She had some heart palpitations, and we haven't got the results back from the harness that she wore, but the vet thought it was okay, but wanted to put that on her and check her out just in case she sees Buck. Let's go look at the bees. So this little nuke right here is artificial swarm from hive number 20, the last one on this road down here on the end, or first one, I guess. Depends on which end you're counting from. So they're bringing in pollen there, so that looks good. This other one is split, and without looking at my notes, I think it either had a virgin queen in there or swarm cells. So all these hives look like they're doing well. There's bees flying in and out of every one of them. So it rained pretty much all day yesterday, so they're just now getting out. This nuke here on the left, there's not a lot going on there, so compared to the one to the right of it. Ooh, gotta be a bee's coming. Hold still. Oh, there a bee just came out of that nuke there. So, yeah, maybe it is okay. This is the closest I dare to get. With this GoPro wide angle, it looks like I'm a long ways off, but I'm really about 10 foot in front of these hives. So I'm not getting closer. Let's go around the corner. Okay, just scanning across here. Lots of bees flying in and out. So the next thing we need to do in the bee yard is start checking the splits we made. So the little nuke boxes, the little tiny boxes, like these ones right over here, and the single high boxes are splits. So we need to check them and see if they've got a queen. And I also have to look in my notes and see which one of these tall hives that I pulled the queen out of, and they are making a new queen from the swarm cells. I think there's at least 4 of those in that condition. I've got a whole list of my queenless hives that I need to check. So about 80% of those will provide a viable queen. What happens a lot of times is the queen does not make it back from her mating flight. A bird will get her, or a dragonfly, you know, who knows. And we got a couple more nukes over in the woods. Let's go check on those. Looks like the irises are wrapping it up. This was that really pretty yellow one. Got some blackberries blooming. There's a little row of blackberries in this deep stuff here. I see a bee flying out of that nuke, and I see bees flying around that one. So for now, I'd say they're okay, but we need to get in there and see if there's a queen that we find. So this is kind of a little flower garden area that it's just hard to keep up with the weeds. It just takes over. Along this fence is blackberries. Looks like it's mostly vetch right now. There's a few irises and other things in here. Looks like a peony right there that's getting ready to bloom. It's just really hard to keep up with this. Some clematis. There's a rose bush. Looks like Buck showed up. Hey Buck, come here. Hey, oh, get down. Those two have a blast together. Well, that does it for this update. Hope you enjoyed it. Just a nice little walk around on a spring day after it's rained a couple inches the day before. Nice and calm out. Nice cool spring morning. Hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and give me a thumbs up on the video if you would. And we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all take care.